I've worked in health and safety for 15 years plus overseas in Europe, and then I came to New Zealand about 10 years ago, so I started my journey here. So especially the company I implemented DownSafe with, they had nothing, no reporting system whatsoever. There was a paper form as part of a big OSH manual that someone had to find the form in a PDF, then print it, fill it out manually, scan it back. No one would do it. It was just, old school and very tedious and cumbersome to actually do reporting. If you don't have that insight and the full picture of the whole data, then you can't do anything about it. So that's the big obstacle that you have. You can't see trends, you can't do an analysis of data, and with that you cannot plan to prevent incidents and the root causes that have led to it. So reporting has to be easy. It has to be easy for people to use the data and the software. And if that's not happening, then no one will actually grab their phone or go onto the platform and use it. So really important to me was to have a simple solution that's simple to be used by the user, by Joe Bloggs, the managers and everyone, but also be customizable for the needs of the business, for the organization, in terms of getting your right data for health and safety. To be able to have all the data exactly the way you want it, when it comes to simple to report user form for incidents, hazards, and misses, all the way to complicated dashboards that give you the data easy to be readable. That's super important. And I always say when I talk about DownSafe, it's like an empty kitchen shelf, and that's what I liked about it. And you can fill the baskets, the modules, the way you want them. I would never want to work with a system that puts me into a box and tells me how to use and read data. It has to adjust to my needs as an organization, which DownSafe absolutely ticks the box 500%. It's amazing how customizable it is. After implementation, there was training provided by DownSafe. So me, myself as a manager and IT were able to actually go in there and change forms, questions. When the workforce actually uses it, there's always changes to be made, and to be able to go in there, do that yourself and make changes to reports, to the user forms and so on was fantastic, super easy to use. Because it was so easy to use, and we tested it in a test system with a smaller group of users to see what the feedback is before rolling it out, before going live. It was easy for me to set up user guides for everyone, for the users to how to use it. And I recorded myself clicking through. I wrote a step-by-step guide with some screenshots, and then had almost no feedback in terms of we don't know what to do. So it made it so smoothly to actually use it across the entire workforce of almost 1,000 people. So in terms of numbers, it actually quadrupled the number of incidents, which was to be expected because there was nothing there at first. Within a couple of months, you could see the data actually coming in. It was adopted fairly quickly. After a year, people were talking about health and safety. They were pointing out hazards, talking about near misses that they might have had, and how proud they were to actually log it in the system themselves, which made me feel confident that we've done the right thing and chosen the right system. Again, because it's so highly customizable, you could customize the access of different types of users. You could pretty much only give them the forms and the data that they needed, users, employees, and then managers more access, dashboards and so on, which made it really handy that data wasn't shared where it wasn't needed to be shared between sites or between people, especially because there's sensitive information in there. But at the same time, managers had the full picture of what's going on and could, again, foster the culture more. So it was almost like a cycle. You see more reporting, managers were empowered and able to do something about it, and then fed that back into the culture by bringing people's morale up and preventing incidents. So it was actually, the system was helping the culture to grow, which was really good to see. When we were talking about implementing the system, of course, there's a cost behind it. And that obstacle was fairly quickly resolved by looking at incidents that we had in the past. Look at the incidents you have had and what it has cost you. ACC data, our incident insurance that we have. Look at the costs, the time away from those workers, and multiply that time by the number of people you have in the business on average. And then you will see that it's a no-brainer to spend money for a system. The business leaders had really good insight in the data and in terms of what had happened in the business and with incidents and trends. So that actually helped them to plan ahead and make the right decisions on what we need to do on site-specific levels, but also for the organization. The CEO and senior leadership could just go in there and look at the dashboards, the colorful pie charts, which were super easy to read. So really well done by DoneSafe to set it up in an easy way. It gave them more assurance that we're doing the right thing. The system revealed trends and actually what's happening on the ground in live time, in real time, which was super important. And like I said, again, those dashboards that we saw, you don't have to pull a report and look back at the data and have a guess on what's actually happening right in the moment. You can go into DoneSafe, see the dashboard, and you know this is happening right now on the ground in place A, B, or C. And that really helped them shape their actions for the business. So that proactiveness that really helps by having a dashboard that's live and really shapes executives and senior management's perspective and decisions. You have to look at it primarily from an employee's, a user's perspective on the day-to-day business, and then switching that lens and looking at it from senior management or an executive or general manager's perspective, saying what do they actually need. Communication was key in the implementation process, and to find out what we as an organization and as a user actually need. Roll up your sleeves, go to the sites, talk to your workforce and ask them, hey, this is what we're looking at. What are your obstacles at the moment? If you hurt yourself, what do you do? What's the current process? And then thinking about how to make it easy for them to remove those obstacles and help them report so you get the insight you want. Being able to log an incident in less than 30 seconds, taking a photo or video, was just fantastic. It removed all the obstacles of, rolling your eyes, another form. That's how it is, another form. And why do I have to do this? I better not report it and sweep it under the carpet. And that's not what we want in health and safety.